Hey everybody, I'm Bob Crossan, Senior Managing Editor of Water and Waste Digest, and today I have with me Matt Lindgren. He is Senior Vice President of Product Delivery at VertexONE, and I also have Peter Eiland, Solution Architect at VertexONE. We're going to be talking about customer information systems, best practices, and considerations in adjoinment with their print article from April. So yeah, Matt and Peter, thank you so much for being on the call.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So I wanted to start by setting the stage. I'm sure that a lot of our viewers already know what a customer information system is, but could you guys describe in your own words a quick overview of what customer information systems are and how they've changed over the years?
And I'll take that one on. So, really customer information systems, they've evolved over the years, and utilities themselves, municipalities, they really want to demand more from their customer information system, and they have to be more forward thinking. And I think in the past, we've always really focused on that being more of a billing and collections perspective. And, as an implementer and a hosting of those CS systems, we've always focused more on meter to cash cycle and how we can effectively iron out those business processes. But today, as customers have evolved, CIS systems actually have had to grow and help manage that entire life cycle and relationship of those customers. So I think having prescriptive processes and more of a single user interface that connects all edge systems within a CIS product is key. And more importantly, within the actual CIS system, that billing engine. So having a flexible billing engine itself with all services. So electric, gas, water, wastewater, and really having that flexibility and ability to adapt and shift quickly is new. So when things aren't working out, we need that flexibility to change. And I know really here in the market that I live in, there's marketing teams out there pushing out new creative campaigns, and having those billing engines itself, having the flexibility there. It's nice to be able to adopt and adapt the new rates that are out there that these marketing teams are pushing. So, and really from a CIS system, I think one final thing utility companies are venturing into is looking at new revenue generating initiatives. And they really need a CIS system that can help accommodate this. So, all of us have, starting to get smart homes, or we're having water initiatives that are out there. And, they need a CIS system that has the flexibility to have new revenue generating non-commodity offerings and catalogs that'll actually help supplement those revenue losses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, one of the things that was mentioned in the article that in our April issue was about the changing customer demands, the fact that they're now getting all of these, using all these services like Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and all that kind of stuff that is this immediate answer to a question that they have, how that's influencing their decisions and how they communicate with their utility. Could you talk a little bit about the current customer expectations when it comes to these information systems, and how can utilities try to overcome those demands and meet those customers where they are?
Yeah, so Bob, it's evident that these habits and expectations that we have of having the world at our fingertips also colors the expectations customers have on utilities. So I think on a high level, utility customers more and more expect to have access at their fingertips to effectively have the utility on their device. And be able to perform and do certain things, request services, understand why my bill looks the way it does, be able to pay, of course. But I think customers are also looking for the next step. So similar to when you go online shopping, many apps provide you with recommendations based on your behavior. And that's also a trend that we see, that utility customers expecting more and more of that type of recommendations. Hey, based on how you use water, based on how you use gas, this is what we think you would like, which is of course something that's heavily driven by analytics within the CIS system in the back end. And I think another aspect that we see here is customers also increasingly expect to get proactive notifications from the utilities about things going on. So if you have a leaking toilet, customers would like to let the utility know, let them know, rather than finding out through a high bill or through even worse means, a leak at home or similar. Same thing with outages. You know, you see this in many other areas that there's messages going out to let customers know, hey, something's going on. There's a main break. There's an outage in your area. We expect to be back again at a certain point in time. So all those kind of general trends that we see in society also translates to utilities. And last but not least, customers increasingly expect to be able to self-serve and to avoid the cost to the call centers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, being in constant touch with a utility, I'm sure, is high on the list. I mean, you see these chat bots on almost every customer service website, and being able to just chat with someone, get an answer real quick. I'm sure that that's part of this process as well of trying to trying to meet customers where they are. That was something else that was mentioned in this article about using technology to do that. My interpretation of that is that you got to meet them on their desktop app. You got to meet them mobilely. Got to try and meet them with print mailing and stuff like that as well. Could you talk about how you can use technology to meet customers where they're going to most likely interact with you?
Yeah. So really, yeah, customers have that expectation, you know, for you to be reaching out to them to help out. And I think, you know, a CIS system shouldn't be the limiting factor within that equation. So, you know, what we like to focus on or think within organizations is really having that consistent, easy user experience across all channels. So multiple channels that are out there that are offered. And, you know, to me personally, I've been on the road a lot lately. So, you know, people are on the road and they want more insight of what's going on back at their home. And I think Matt hit on a few of the topics that, you know, we want to have that real-time data analytics out there to help make usage decisions at any point during the day. So if a customer wants to change or do something different within their usage capabilities, they can. So I would say probably more to simplify it is utilities just need to be proactive and not just reactive the way that they're used to. And, you know, we need to think of technology, you know, having or being like a two-way relationship. And we give the customer options to make those changes to self-serve. And in doing so, we need to make sure that we push out meaningful information to help them support and make those decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, another aspect here that I did want to touch on too, there were aspects, bringing it back to the technology, there were some subsets that were discussed in this article too about security, reliability, responsiveness, and scalability. Obviously, security has been a big topic ever since the hack in Oldsmar, Florida, that kind of shook the industry a little bit because we don't get to see things so prominent in news. Could you talk a little bit about like the importance of evaluating your security, understanding the reliability of the systems? What should utilities be looking for in terms of these kind of subsets of their technology like review, essentially?
That's great. Yeah, I mean, really having that upfront, you know, I guess scanning that's going on and understanding what's out there is key. So you need to weigh the importance of each one of those elements. And I think really the main thing is that it shouldn't be an afterthought. So I think utilities must ask themselves also, really, what is the overhead in their organization to take those on? And are you utilizing your resources effectively by, you know, dedicating FTEs that might not be fully, you know, allocated to certain roles that you're needing between that, you know, security and really checks within your system to make sure things are running smooth. And so, I like to always think of it as like an enhanced SaaS-based approach for a CIS helps the utility create like a partnership with that SaaS provider. And, what's good about it is it becomes an extension of your organization, and it helps you take on, where that SaaS provider is taking on those opportunities, and doing it at a predictable cost. So to me, having that partnership also really allows you to free up your employees and allow them to focus on other value-added initiatives, and while not losing oversight into that security, reliability, and responsiveness within your organization.
Yeah. So just to touch on a couple things that you mentioned there, I wanted to touch on the SaaS part. Could you explain what SaaS is for those who may not be familiar with the acronym?
That's good. So software as a service. So basically, companies are more and more, intrigued or looking out there for a software that's there for not actually an on-prem solution, but something that's hosted in the cloud and that is continuously being updated for you and is run. So it takes some of the responsibility off your organization that you used to have to maintain. It allows you to free up those resources for other initiatives.
Yeah. Now, you also mentioned overhead, and that kind of made me think about the workforce element involved in this. Obviously, having a strong IT team, but also knowing the limitations of that team is really critical for this. We hear about workforce challenges all the time with utility professionals. What can utility managers and directors do to ensure they're not making promises their IT team can't keep in terms of these like CIS systems and whatnot?
If we look at utilities in the market today, what we see is the utilities that are the most successful in just meeting customer needs are really the ones where the business and IT are in lockstep. So they work together in terms of mapping out the roadmap of what they want to accomplish and make sure, to your point, make sure that the IT part of the business can sign up and commit to those functions and features and offerings, whatever the case may be. But we also see that it is evident that within many utilities, just the workforce and just maintaining the CIS solution is a challenge. To an extent, it may be difficult to effectively utilize personnel because you need a certain set number of people just to keep the lights on. We often see that you have roles within the organization which effectively are a single point of failure. You have that one person who's the rate expert, and what happens if that person all of a sudden doesn't show up for work one day? So another aspect of this is just the system itself, and the ability to keep abreast with new versions, staying on updated technology is not seldom a challenge for utilities. And so what we've done at VertexONE is we've devised an approach that we call VertexONE Complete, which essentially takes much of this worry away from utilities. And we become an extension of their organization. And really what that's about is cloud, the SaaS-based model that Peter described just a minute ago. We run the solution, the CIS, for the utilities, which allows the utilities to focus on their core business. So speaking with the customers, putting together new offerings, go out and repair meters, whatever the case may be. We have a component which is called Secure, which is very much around keeping the data secure, PCI compliance, encryption, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, we have a component that we call Grow, which means that when we manage CIS solutions for our utility clients, a part of that is to stay technologically current, stay on the latest version, and make sure that you never sit on an outdated model. And by doing so, it means that the utility is in a better place to be able to adopt to changing market needs, to be able to hook up new apps, whatever the case may be. And so our thought behind all this has been to provide a more worry-free running of the CIS solution, and just allow the utility to focus on their core business.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you, Matt and Peter, for talking through this and getting some more details into the article itself and sharing that with us. For everyone who's watching, definitely look in the description below. We've got the article link down there. You can take a look at that. And for Matt and Peter, thanks again for being on the call. We appreciate your time.